My life dramatically changed during my junior high years when things started to just kind of show up that I didn't know what it was that was showing up, and started dealing with a lot of relationship issues, and started really, for lack of a better word, I wouldn't have been able to explain it at that time in my life, but I was just full of self-hate, just did not like who I was. I ended up running away, and that's kind of where that's where the trafficking story begins. I never felt threatened. I never felt like anybody was hurting me. I felt like these were my choices and this was what I wanted to do. Somebody had noticed me walking down the street and knew that I had been missing for a few weeks, and contacted my family, and then contacted law enforcement, and law enforcement came with my dad to pick me up in the house that I was currently staying in with a bunch of older men. You know, that was just kind of one of those things that sent me on another path. I ended up in a group home for a year, just trying to figure out what's going on, how to get me back on track, and none of that was very helpful for me, because the bigger issues weren't being addressed. That were the issues that were really impacting the choices that I was making in my life. Those issues at the time we weren't talking about because I wasn't talking about it. It wasn't like, oh, this happened to me and this is why I'm making the choices that I'm making. And actually those issues didn't come out until I was in my early 20s, when one of my original abusers had confessed to having started sexually abusing me when I was 4 years old. So it really ended up being the impact of the sexual abuse that shaped the foundational beliefs that I had about myself. And you don't articulate that when you're a child. And again, I like to say this a lot, it's like having a name for something gives you power. Because when you can name it, when you can identify it, now you know how to address it. If we go in and we talk to kids about sex trafficking, we're gonna miss 98% of them. They don't relate to it. Again, you don't look at yourself as a victim of sex trafficking. We did describe sex trafficking. We did unpack what abuse is and what's okay and what's not okay, what's normal, what's not normal. And kids just started coming forward. One little girl came forward, 12 years old, said, "I think I'm a victim of sex trafficking." And so the story was, what is happening in your life to lead you to believe that? Well, my mom's boyfriend pays me $20 to have sex with him, and he drops the money on the bed, and she's 12. And she goes to school every day. She takes her math tests, she takes her spelling tests, and she goes home to that. But she never would have named it, because this was the normal part of her life. This is just who she is. So when we go in and we identify abuse and help kids start to see that this is called abuse, and this is not something that you deserve, nor do you need to continue to live with. And our presenters and teachers receive the information well from a child when they disclose, to speak lovingly, to listen, to encourage, and then to get them the help that they need. We're averaging about 10,000 kids a year, so yeah. And this year, woof, we're taking on another district, and so we're really excited about how many kids we're gonna be able to have the opportunity to hear the message and get the help that they need. I have been given this opportunity to use what was, as far as I'm concerned, evil, and what was meant to keep me down, to just unlock as many chains and doors to the hearts of these kids that are suffering from that.